Now that you've got an idea of what site feeds are all about, it's a good idea to set some of the features that are available to you with Blogger. The first thing that we need to talk about is what Blogger calls descriptions. That I believe to be a misnomer because these really aren't descriptions. It's really the way that the content is sent to the feed. But under this particular option, you have two choices. One is full and one is short. The full option means that the entirety of your entry is sent along with the news feed. So let's say I'm writing about a travel experience. I write about how I came into the airport and took a drive along the ocean, stopped along the way to take a photograph. Perhaps I've included a photograph in my blog from that experience. I talk about where I went to eat, some of the sites I saw along the way. If this is a very long post, they get the entirety of that post, at least in text format. They won't get any of the images, and they won't get any comments that are also included in that. So the advantage there is that people can read your posts without ever having to visit your website. The disadvantage there is that people can read your posts without ever having to visit your website. The website itself is where the rich experience exists, where the comments are, where the images are, where the archives are, where the whole discourse is really happening. So today's thinkers are saying, using full descriptions via a syndication format is simply not the way to go. We want to use syndication as a means of drawing people to our site, to our blog, so that they can have that richer experience where they're really interacting with the work that you're doing, and they're really getting a chance to see the quality and diversity of what's happening on your site, as opposed to this, reading post by post fully over the newsreader. So my recommendation, despite the fact that Blogger has full descriptions for its default, is to make these short. So go ahead and change this to short. Now, what this choice does is that it only sends either the first paragraph or the first 255 characters of your post, whichever is shorter. So in a way, you can think of this as a little tease, okay? So your person who is following your weblog via your feed, they open their newsreader and they see, oh, look, Molly has just updated her weblog, and they can then read the excerpt from the beginning of that. That will ideally draw them to my blog, where they can see the images, where they can interact with people, where they can leave a comment, whatever. View the archives, really interact with my weblog as opposed to just reading via the feed. So again, the recommendation here is to go for the short version, not the full version. And modern thinkers are really encouraging that right now. As I mentioned, site feeds in general are in a state of flux. And using the short option has many advantages, both because you're using the syndication as a means of drawing people to your blog, which is really the place you want to bring them, and reducing overhead on servers. At this point in time, until we have a better, more standardized means of doing syndication, it's just a good idea to kind of keep things clean. So again, my recommendation is to set this to short. And if you have some reason that overpowers that, then full is certainly available to you. And you can always change it if you want to.